In a quiet, verdant valley carved between the ancient hills of a traditional African village named Udumiri, the wind carried whispers that were not always human. Here, tradition was a living thing, and the river that ran through the heart of the village was both a blessing and a curse. Udumiri was known for its thick forests, red mud paths, thatched huts, and shrines guarded by masked priests and sacred taboos. Adorgo was born on a stormy night when the river Nile swelled beyond its banks and swallowed 3 goats, a hut, and 2 palm trees. The old midwife, Mema Ejima, looked down at the newborn's slick body and paused. "She has no cry," she whispered. The mother, a gentle woman named Neka, wept in fear. Her daughter blinked wide-eyed into the world, silent as stone. "She is cursed," the villagers muttered. The next morning, the priest of the river, Izemuo, was summoned. He stood tall with white chalk smeared across his eyes. The river's emblem hung around his neck, a half-moon shell dipped in dried blood. "She belongs to the river," he announced. Adorgo grew into a girl of beauty and silence. Her long lashes, calm steps, and haunting eyes drew stares. She spoke not a word, but she smiled often, especially when alone near the river. She would sit at the riverbank, dipping her fingers into its cool ripples, whispering silently to someone no one could see. The village children avoided her. Their mothers warned, "Don't let her touch your shadow, the spirits follow her." Only her father, Okoro, believed otherwise. He built her a small hut beside their own and prayed daily to the gods to return her voice. But her silence wasn't emptiness, it was filled with whispers. On her 16th birthday, Adorgo had a dream. She was walking in a white cloth, her head crowned with river lilies, and a voice like thunder and honey said, "You are mine. I have waited long enough. Tonight, you will come to me." She woke up screaming, her first sound in 16 years. Her mother ran into the room and found her sweating, crying, and speaking. "Mama, Mama, he's coming." The villagers gathered, terrified. The mute girl had spoken. And what she said shook the roots of Udumiri. That night, the moon refused to shine. Frogs stopped croaking. Birds remained still. Adorgo felt her legs walk on their own, pulling her toward the river. Her mother held her tightly, screaming for help. They bound her feet with ropes and prayed all night. But still, the river's pull throbbed in her chest like a second heartbeat. The next morning, a small dead fish was found on her bed, dripping wet. Mema Ejima whispered, "The bridegroom is calling." Izemuo was summoned once more. He arrived with his white-stained staff, his eyes clouded, his voice grave. "She is not cursed," he declared. "She is married." The people gasped. "To what?" one asked. "To whom?" Izemuo corrected. "To the one beneath the waters, to the husband who chose her before her first cry." They performed a ritual, burying her hair and toenail clippings at the foot of the shrine. But that night, all the water in the clay pots across Udumiri turned black. The next morning, the crops had withered, and Adorgo had lost her voice again. 4 days, Adorgo slept, and in her sleep, she met him. His name was Obialu, a spirit dressed in woven shadows and river pearls. He whispered love songs in a forgotten tongue. He bathed her feet in silver water and placed a ring of bone on her finger. "You were promised," he said. "Before your mother's womb was ever formed, you were promised to me." Adorgo screamed in the dream, but no sound came out. He smiled. "In silence, I will love you forever." Some believed she needed deliverance. Others believed she was a goddess. A few feared her mere presence. Girls weren't allowed near her, lest their wombs be closed by the spirit husbands. Neka wept. She remembered how her father had disappeared into the forest the day she told him she was pregnant. He returned with red-stained feet and refused to speak for a week. The pact had been real, and now it had come to collect. One day, a boy named Chaka, a hunter's son, offered Adorgo a carved whistle. He was the only one who dared speak to her with kindness. She smiled. That night, the village thundered with cries. Chaka was found unconscious beside the river, foam on his lips. A fish scale clung to his eyelid. He survived but never spoke again. The warning was clear, she belonged to another. That night, Adorgo had a dream where Obialu appeared in fury. "You smiled at another." I want to be free, she cried. He kissed her forehead and said, You are mine in life, in death, and beyond. You will give me a child of both worlds. She woke up bleeding from the nose, with river sand on her chest. Weeks passed, and her mother noticed her daughter's stomach swelling. No, it cannot be. Izemuo confirmed it. She was pregnant, but no man had touched her. She carries the child of the deep, he said. In a frenzy, the villagers gathered to expel the spirit. They tied a Dorgo, smeared her in ashes, and called upon the shrine of Amadioha for thunder to strike the union dead. But lightning struck the tree beside them instead, and a voice spoke through Adorgo's mouth. She is not yours to unbind. 9 months later, Adorgo walked alone to the riverbank. She lay by the water and gave birth alone, without pain, in silence. The baby was born with eyes like flowing water and a mark of a shell on her chest. The river rose and whispered, She is the air. She named the child Memene, spirit of the mother. Adorgo returned home with her child. But she no longer wept. She no longer feared. I will raise her, she told her mother, but I am no longer of this world. Her father tried to speak to her, but she turned away. That night, he was found drowned in a dry well. The next full moon, Adorgo disappeared with her child. The only trace left was her bone ring placed on her mat. Mimar Neka cried for days, her knees blooded at the shrine. But one girl, a child playing by the river, swore she saw Adorgo walking barefoot into the water, holding her baby, her eyes glowing blue. She didn't sink. She vanished. And the river whispered, She is his forever.